I ate some Lunchable, so I feel good about that. Okay, now we're in focus. Now we're good. Let me get my cute little hair going. Yay. By the way, folks, you haven't lived until you've worn a shirt with your own face on it. Which, by the way, before we get into our questions, I'm just going to let y'all know that even though this shirt is no longer available right now, we do have these nice, sexy Dune Club shirts. And we're running out. Like, we're almost out of them. So if you want to get one, now's kind of the time, because we've got 4 mediums left, 8 larges, 15 extra larges, and 8 extra larges. The smalls, where we ran out of those like really fast. I should have bought more smalls. Should have got more smalls, but I didn't. So just saying, just letting you know.
Fix one more technical difficulty for you.
What?
This is supposed to go like that.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah. And then, but also, so whenever you purchase anything, you get one of these God Emperor old bookmarks from Dune Club 1. So we got that available. We also got Dune Club 2 pins. So if you want to represent that you're in the club. We sold out of these guys. Did sell out of these. And then, oh yeah, we have the Litany Against Fear prayer card. So you got this. So it has a Litany Against Fear on the back. There's a signed one, so it's signed. So you know I signed it and I touched it. You can put it in your wallet. And then if you're ever having a fear moment, you can take it out and then you can read the litany. I must not fear. Fear is a mind killer. You can read it to yourself aloud or whatever, and then do that until you don't feel so bad. So that's the thing. Also, Oscar, one of you amazing, beautiful babies out there, sent me a care package. And within this care package that Oscar sent me was this Soma Dark Fire chocolate. It is dark chocolate with spices and chili peppers. And I was reading the back of this, and our original spicy chocolate is a great way to awaken your senses. Dream Machine Blend supplies the full round base of chocolate notes. The infusion of chili, ginger, cinnamon, orange peel, allspice, and vanilla unlocks an explosive parallel dimension of flavor, a potent reminder that the spice must flow. Note: the spice gives third stage guild navigators the ability to fold space and time. So this is some Dune nerd fucking got in here and wrote some fucking dorky ass Dune shit on the back of this. I love it. I'm like so excited. So I'm gonna eat a little square for you guys. Check it out. Ooh, it says traveling without moving on the inside. This is really fun. This is definitely the right chocolate for me. If you're gonna send me some, although please don't send me sugar. I don't want to eat it. Like I'm a sugar addict. I don't need to eat sugar. It's bad for me. But you know, you make exceptions. Everything in moderation, even moderation. So, but yeah, it's really pretty though. Wow, it's like it's got like this whole. I can't really see, but there you go. Yeah, you can kind of see it. It's like really pretty. Beans is here. Beans is here for the chocolate time. You can't have any beans, but you can hang out. What are you doing, little girl? You want to come over here and say hi to everybody? Might need some scissors or a knife or something. Hey, T, can you grab me some scissors? Hey, Beans. Come here. Come here. You look like you've been taking a nap. Look at this napping kitty. All right, here we go. Let's see if it awakens my prescient abilities. See if I can unlock space and time. I don't want to know the future, guys. I'm about that now moment. I'm trying to like live in the now moment, you know. I'm trying to like not be like, you know, getting all crazy. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Here's some chocolate. Here's some ASMR for you. Ooh, it is spicy. Ooh. Ooh, spices really sneak up on you. First it's sweet, but then it gets like a little spicy. I see all these other people doing ASMR and I'm like, I want to get in on this. Live chocolate. Wow. That cinnamon kick, man, it is spicy. There's a lot of spice at the end of it. It like starts off kind of sweet, and you're like, oh, it's just some sweet chocolate, and then it's like the spice builds, you know, it's like building, and then it's like, oh, now you really taste it, but then it's kind of like that spiciness where you're like, now you want more, you know. It's like those flaming hot Cheetos where it's like you eat a Cheeto and it's like, oh, it's too hot, but then you stop, and then for a minute your mouth's like really hot, and then you're like, oh, I just want another Cheeto. Okay. All right, so this was great. So thank you, Oscar, for sending me this hilarious Dune-themed chocolate. You're a really sweetheart. Sweetie, sweet, sweet. Thank you. I'll put it back in here. But yeah, we've got chili, ginger, cinnamon, orange peel, allspice, and vanilla. Yeah. It's definitely got a chili kick to it. Definitely got that chili in there. I can definitely like, whew, it's a little hot, but I like it. I like it. So thank you. All right, so let's go now to our Dune Club Session 3 cues. So by the way, just so you know, if you are a Team 19 member on Patreon, I post a little deal every week where you can put your questions, and then I check out all the questions, and then we go through them. So it's a really great way to, you know, get some good stuff here. Yeah, I have got to get some lip goo after this. This is just like, it's gotten like real crazy. Michael Erickson asks, especially the spicy chocolate, you know? Oh, I want to put the spice on my fucking cracked desert Arrakis lips. Paul Erickson asks, do you think there's a connection to Paul seeing the moon falling and the symbolism of the moon in the tarot? Also, could Alia be any more Sundiri? I don't know how to pronounce this. This is a Japanese word. Just gonna go ahead and put that out there. But let's talk first about Paul seeing the moon falling and how that could be, how the symbolism of the moon and tarot card would tie in potentially to that. The one thing that I see that is similar is that the moon card in the tarot, the regular tarot, not the Dune tarot, in the tarot is a moon of like the great feminine, you know, like the divine feminine aspect, you know, the very, very divine feminine aspect. And so, I mean, and it's also about like birth and like motherhood and like all of these things. And so like Chani being like the moon of Paul's life, you know, the great divine feminine that's like in his life, you know, the one who wants to carry his children. There are absolutely associations that you could bring together with those two things. Like, yes. And the moon is known as a very feminine symbol, generally speaking. I mean, the moon is why is the moon a feminine symbol? Well, one of the things is that it's ever changing. You know, it's like always, sometimes it's light, sometimes it's dark, you know, like us females, you know, we have, I know that I'm a tempestuous little person. I change. We have cycles. We have menstrual cycles. The moon has a cycle that it goes through. And it's also like the moon is, it's the brightest thing in the sky at night, you know, and it can really, unless it's a new moon, but it's the brightest thing in the sky at night, and it can like help when you're on a night journey, you know, a night journey. And night journeys like can be compared to being in a situation where you don't know what's going on, a situation where you have to use your intuition. And so, you know, like females, the feminine is very much, intuition is very much a part of being a female, I think. Like women, there's the woman's intuition, that's some real shit. You have to use your intuition as a woman. And the moon is like, the moon card is definitely associated with intuition. So there's that. And Alia as being Sundere, I don't know how to say it. That is, okay, that's a concept. I looked it up. That is a concept in anime where you have a female character who's initially like kind of like cold and like standoffish and like whatever, like I don't care about any of this crap. And then she eventually like warms up and becomes like friendlier, you know? So it's like, yeah, that's totally, yeah, that's some real shit that's going on. Like that is some real shit that's going on for real. Like, it's like, is that chocolate or is that like a dead piece of skin? I'm not sure. Simon Arsenault asks, given the extent of Alia's abilities and being in a relationship with anyone something she ever envisioned, and if not, how shocking was it for her when hate reached in for that kiss? Well, she does talk about how the Dune Tarot has muddied time, and that she knows that there is a man in her future, but she has not seen him. He's this shadowy figure. So this kiss was a surprise for her. Like, she did not see this kiss. Like, even though it felt familiar to her, and even though she's like in her visions has felt the lips of this man before from a future, she was still like very surprised by it. And that mainly it's because her prescient abilities have been muddied through the tarot and all the other prescient shit that's going on in the universe. Bobby McIntyre says, being that Paul brought in Edric to receive his gift, and others, including Paul, say to themselves, beware of the guild bearing gifts, and now Paul sees the moon falling in his visions, has Paul put himself into a vision that he cannot change, and the falling moon being Paul? I'm hoping to better understand that. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, Paul's kind of a part of it. Like, it's like, but I feel like he's more the earth in the vision, like the shaking earth, the quaking earth, like can't handle it, because it's like the moon is gone. But the moon is definitely Cheney. It's not Paul, but Paul kind of doesn't want to, if she falls, he wants to go too. Like, he doesn't want to be around without her. Doug Stuthoff, which, by the way, Doug, I thanks for ordering some stuff. I saw you coming up in my orders. I was like, oh, Doug got some stuff. Cool. Not a question, but an observation. On page 118, Stilgar says, there'll be trouble if she's not wed, and that soon. It's an interesting construction, and that, followed by an adverb. That, I think, is kind of dying out in common usage. We see it in the biblical sayings in the wall of the Warden Norton's office in the movie of The Shawshank Redemption, right as he about to shoot himself as the cops are closing in, and that right soon. And it's used later in the Dune series, I believe in the next book. The search is sure to include this place, and that early. It makes me wonder where within England regionally it comes from. Also, I mean it in the sense where that is being used as a noun, calling back to an earlier clause, and not as a second adverb modifying what follows, such as in the construction is, I was amazed you did it, and that quickly. I think something slightly different is going on, but maybe I'm wrong. Just interesting how the language itself could change in the relatively short time since 1969. Yeah, I mean, it's always changing, you know, it's like, and that is kind of, it does feel like an archaic, and that soon, you know, like that is some archaic shit, but it's like things, especially with the internet. And I mean, especially with like, I mean, it's so stupid, but like emojis, you know, like GIFs, like memes, like these have all like language has changed so quickly. And I mean, the internet has really changed the game a lot. I was actually reading a really interesting article about how the internet and how texting and how these things have like changed and evolved language in these new different ways. Everything's changing very quickly, though, not just language, in my opinion. Kenny asks, sorry, I've been having trouble finishing the videos, working 2 jobs plus school. Dude, Kenny, you're an MVP. Keep it up. You're doing amazing. No need to apologize. So I'm not sure if this has come up so far, but you consider designing and making CBG19 themed Dune tarot cards. I know I would buy them in a heartbeat. Doug came back and was like, well, she said she was afraid that she'd get sued. But, you know, I'm still thinking about, like, I could just, like, illustrate a few, you know, I don't know if I could do a whole deck or anything, but I have been bouncing around the idea of just, like, for my own pleasure, just doing, like, a few cards or something potentially, but we'll see. We'll see. I've got some other like creative projects that I'm kind of working on right now. So it's like I got to get these things kind of more shaped up before I start new things. But, you know, it's a possibility. We live in a universe of possibilities. So if the inspiration strikes, you know, I may bust out a few cards. We'll see. Oh, Doug says, I'm still hoping she'll gradually eventually have more Atreides crest pins. They were a good design. Well, guess what, Doug? I put a little surprise in your care package for you because I know you really wanted one of those Atreides pens, and I found an extra one. So I was just like, all right, let me hook it up for this homie. So, you're welcome. Red Sonya's chosen male says, on the Thopter ride back from the desert, why do you think Duncan takes such liberties with Alia? Is it because hate has already recommended to Paul to destroy him and Paul refused? Has that given him carte blanche? Or are his Duncan memories betraying him? He did refer to her as a child. Well, he says it. It's like she wanted it. So he did it. And he wanted it too. And he was like, I know she wants me to kiss her. But it's like, who's going to make the first move on Alia? Again, it's like Alia's like a power bitch. Like, she's so powerful. It's like, so difficult to approach somebody like that. But he knows that, she wants it, and he knows that he wants it. So that's why he did it. And he, he's just like, fuck it. I mean, he does say, like, I do, I, like, my creators, like, I dare much more than my creators, like, anticipated. And I really loved that. Because he does. Like, this guy is like, whatever. I'm taking this kiss. I'm going to kiss this crazy bitch. Carlos Santamaria says, Paul has a vision of a moon falling out of the sky, which triggered a deep-seated fear that I personally held. Wow, that's interesting. I wanted to ask, what do you believe the vision means, and why does it disturb Paul so much? Well, Cheney. Again, it's Cheney. It's all Cheney. She's the moon of his life. She's in orbit around him. She keeps him steady. She keeps his tides going. She guides him through the darkness. And so when she falls, like he falls. Karina V. I'm not sure if the topic of religion has been brought up before. Besides the Fremen having their religious beliefs, are there other religions that dominate the Dune universe? How prevalent is religion in the Dune universe? Paul mentions that religious manna was thrust on me. What does he mean by religious manna? Also, can a Gola reproduce and feel love? The question came up after reading the part where Hate kisses Alia. Do you think Hate kissed her on purpose, or does he have genuine feelings for her? Or is this just a part of the plot to bring down Atreides by targeting Alia? I think, bro, again, it's like they're mirror opposites. How could they not be attracted to one another? How could they not be attracted to one another? They are mirror fucking opposites. Like, he's a new being in dead flesh. She's an old being in new flesh. I mean, it's just like he's trying to uncover his old memories. She's trying to get rid of other people's memories. It's like so perfect. Yes, Golas can reproduce, and they can also feel love. I mean, they're people. They may be in the bodies of dead people, but they are people. And but this may have a part. I mean, this may be a part of trying to bring House Atreides down. I mean, they talked about it earlier. Is like, yeah, like he's going to distract her. Like, they know that he's going to distract her. So in a way, even though he genuinely, I feel like, has feelings for her, it still is working to their competitors' advantage in certain ways. But yes, there are lots of religions within the Dune universe. There are very, very many religions. I mean, we talk about the Zen-Sunni philosophy stuff. It's like Zen-Sunni is a religion. I mean, they have the Orange Catholic Bible is talked about, and that's where they boiled down and took like all the major religions within the universe at that time, and then boiled them down into like one book of like philosophy. And there's like, I mean, like Paul says, he's like, I killed the followers of 40 different religions. Like, he's wiped out 40 different religions. So yeah, there's mad religion in this universe. But now Paul's religion has risen as prominence of like the monotheistic, like, and it's so funny because we talk about how, Paul and Jesus have similarities. There's similarities going on here. And it's like Jesus brought in, monotheism to the main fucking stream. I mean, like, before Jesus, like, monotheism, where you believed in one God, was not the deal. Like, there was a lot of diversity. And then post Jesus, we live in a very monotheistic world. I mean, Christianity and Islam are the dominant religions on the planet. Some of the dominant religions make up a large portion of the planet's religious beliefs. And those are both monotheistic. I mean, Judaism is also like the mother religion, but it's a very small, compared to like Christianity and Islam, it has a very, very small amount of believers. But yeah, monotheism. And like under Paul, it's like now his religion is going out, and it's like, and he's the guy, it's another kind of new form of monotheism where it's like wiping out all the other stuff. And when Paul mentions religious manna was thrust on me, what does he mean by that? And I Googled it. I Googled it last night. And it is a supernatural force or power that may be ascribed to persons, spirits, or inanimate objects. Manna may either be good or evil, beneficial or dangerous, but it's generally considered supernatural. Like, it's almost like you have power and influence, but it's like connected with this kind of supernatural idea. And so that's exactly what Paul has had to bring on, is like this this religious power and influence that has a supernatural element to it. That's what he means by religious mana. Great question, Karina. Thank you. Brandon Gilbert with, hey, Team 19, how do you relate most with Alia? I found her plot in this book really interesting, even more so in Children of Dune. Love Dune Club and can't wait for number 3. I've been reading on my own and I just finished God Emperor. I'm totally down for Dune Club until we finish the entire Dune verse, if you want to go that far. Well, I do want to go that far. It's just if you guys want to go on that journey with me, if there's enough support for it. There was absolutely more than enough support for the original Dune Club. And that's why like the production values were a bit higher on our first one, is because we had so many people buy the Dune box and support it. So we were able to put the production values like really high, and I was able to like have a different outfit on every time and like all this fun stuff. And this time around, I knew that it was going to be harder to get more people to come back for Dune Messiah because it's like a tragedy and it's not fun, you know? And so I didn't expect the same amount of people to come back. But we had like a little less than half of the response for the Dune Box 2. And so hence our production values have kind of gone down a little bit. But that's totally fine. It's like, as long as I'm sitting here talking about Dune, like I don't give a fuck. And honestly, this is kind of a more fun way for me to do this. But if people continue to come back, I would very much like to try next summer for Dune Club 3. And because I like doing it in the summer because it's hot and you're on a desert planet and I think it's cute, you know, it's like a whole thing. So yeah, I mean, if you guys continue to support it and you guys continue to come back and stuff, then yeah, like I would love to go all the way to Chapter House Dune. Oh my lord, that would be so great. And also congratulations on finishing God Emperor. God Emperor is such a sick novel. A lot of people drop off at God Emperor. That's another hard one. It's like, okay, so first you have like everybody comes in and reads Dune. Then there's like a huge drop off for the second one. But the people who stay for there are people who stay for the second one and they continue on to the third one. Then they get to the fourth one and there's another huge drop off at the fourth one, because now in the fourth one in God Emperor of Dune, it's like 3,500 years in the future. So now you don't have all of the characters that you kind of had in the first 3 books. And so a lot of people are like not as interested, even though I think that it is... God Emperor is so amazing. There's just nothing like it. It gets really fucking weird at Dune Emperor. You know, it's already weird as fuck, but it gets even weirder. And that makes me even happier because I'm just like, how weird can you go, Frank Herbert? Like, let's fucking see this shit through. And so, yeah, God Emperor is so cool. So kudos to you for reading God Emperor and being down to do the rest of it, because a lot of people, like, can't even go there. It's just, like, too much for them. They're just like, fuck, like, this is, I can't deal with a worm god 3,500 years in the future. Like, this was already a lot. And now we have a fucking worm god, you know? It's just like, whoa, like, people, like, freak out. So, yeah, anyways, I'd love to do that with you, Brandon. And how do I relate most with Alia? Well, it's like, I was saying that, like, I do feel like I'm kind of like an old soul. I feel like very young and very old at the same time. You know, I've always kind of felt like that, you know, and also like, I don't know, just like it is hard to find people that I feel like are on my level, and like I'm not really, you know, I mean, not to say that I'm not impressed with people. I am. I mean, people all the time are like, wow, like the internet is constantly impressing me. Especially somebody sent me a blanket covered in Dicks Out cosplay, you know, and I was just like really impressed. I was like, what? But like on a personal level though, it's just like I feel really lonely because I feel like there's not a lot of people that I can really I don't know, really get into it with, you know, like really get into it with. And like, I can kind of go on other people's, I can go up and down, but other people kind of can't come up and like, can't be in my bubble, you know, like I can easily go in like a lot of people's bubbles, but like they can't kind of come in my bubble, and it gets really lonely and frustrating, you know? And so it's like, yeah. And I'm like a fucking elite asshole. So like, so is she. Yeah, I know. Steve Tyson's like, stop bragging about yourself, whatever. But it's just like, what? Like, I mean, I'm not saying I'm all that. Like, there's definitely people way more intelligent than me. There's definitely people better at me in all sorts of things. But, you know, I don't find that many people that I'm that intimidated by. You know, like, there's very few people that I meet that I'm like, oh, wow, like, you're so much, you know, it's just like, you know, it's a thing. It's a thing. Lucas Fair says, on page 123, our goal is not to rule, but to learn and to free ourselves from all restraints imposed by dependency in government. which is from The Orgy as a Tool of Statecraft. What kind of futuristic society designs social rules with orgies? And what is this blissful path and how do we get there? That's funny. I know. Yes. I know what you're saying. There's a header and it's like a good header, but then at the end of it, it's like the orgy as a tool of statecraft. And I don't think that they mean necessarily a sexual orgy. Maybe they do though. I mean, I don't think, because there's no like sex in the thing. So it's like, I feel, but I don't know. You know, I was a little, I was trying to figure that one out myself. You know, you're not the only one, Lucas. But I do love, our goal is not to rule, but to learn and to free ourselves from all restraints imposed by dependency and government. And it's like, yes, I like that. I like that. But yeah, orgy is a tool of statecraft. I don't know. Maybe people just need to like be more chill and have fun. But we're not like, sex complicates everything with people, especially in like the way we think about it, you know, in our Western society and everything. It's just very like, you know, we're not in a place where we can do those sorts of things right now. Most people can't. I mean, there are people that are doing these things, but it's generally a very small, very insulated group, you know, or it's like, Also, Lucas says, amazing Bene Gesserit witch photo twirls. That was magic. Thank you. I did a photo shoot with Alan Amato, and I was twirling around in this robe, and it was really cool. It looks like I'm in this crumbling, you know, desert location, but really it was just like this sick backdrop that he had. It was just like a backdrop, and he's like, let's test this out. I'm gonna do some lighting tests. And this was just like, I went over there to hang out. I didn't even go over there for a fucking photo shoot. I was just like, oh yeah, I'll help you light test, you know, whatever. And he was like, oh, try on this robe. And I was like, okay, fine. So I just like slipped on the robe and just started spinning around, and yeah, it turned out great. Like, it was awesome. It was so much fun. So yeah, thank you. You can see that on my Instagram. I have been thinking about, like, there's an uncensored version of that photo. And I'm just like, I don't know if the internet's ready for that. Like, I don't give a fuck, but like the internet might be kind of crazy. Like, it's like, do I really want to let all that in? But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. Maybe it'll be in the calendar. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. But thank you for the compliment. Andrew Sweatland says, if Ollie can remember being fucked by her dad from her mom's perspective as a Reverend Mother, why didn't Jessica know that her dad was the Baron? Jessica can remember back many generations, but apparently not her immediate previous ones. And she could not remember back. First of all, she didn't know because she wasn't a Reverend Mother yet. You have to awaken those memories before, like, you're able to access the genetic memories of your female, the feminine side. But then again, it's like, if that's her, I guess she would. Yeah, I guess she would. I'm trying to think of how this works here. Because after she becomes a Reverend Mother, the genetic memories on her other line would be unlocked. And so she would be able to maybe access some of her mother's memories. But then again, it's like Ollie was only able to access her mother's memories up to the point where she, you know, took the juice. So maybe, I don't know if it still works if, like, they're alive, because, like, what if her mother's still alive? We don't ever know who her mother was. So, but she figured it out. I mean, she did figure it out. But she didn't know previously, because she didn't, until she took the juice. Until she took the juice. She didn't know what was going on. Let's see here. Jay Linus says, in page 130, Paul says, religious manna was thrust upon me. I did not seek it, and that he hasn't disavowed it because of my sister Alia. I was curious about that statement. Why would he mention his sister as being his reason? I've not read future books, so if this cannot be answered without spoilers, I understand. I think that he was saying that because he's just, like, trying to throw off Edric, because, like, Edric is, like, obviously, like, working on him. I mean, yeah, he was working for really trying to work on Stilgar indirectly, but he was, like, working on Paul, and Paul's just like, you know, whatever, dude, you got me hemmed in, but my sister's fucking crazy. You know, it's like, you may be able to, like, do this sort of bullshit with me and fucking talk shit to me to my face and all this stuff, but, like, any of this shit that you're trying to pull right now is not going to work with my fucking sister. So he's kind of, like, making Edric remember, it's like, I'm not the only prescient motherfucker in this universe, and my sister's way crazier than I am, bro. So just be fucking careful. Like, be real careful. You can talk shit to me, but if you said any of this shit in her presence, she would fucking slit your dumb fish man throat. Like, she would fucking kill you. And I think it was just more of like trying to scare, because Edric was like really like felt like he had won the conversation, because he says let Edric think he won the conversation, but then he comes back with that to be like, oh, you may have won the battle, but you haven't won the war. And again, it's like, you still have my sister to contend with. Like, even though you might be fucking with me right now, like, you can't, these tricks are not going to work on her, bro, so be careful. Jay Linus also says, am I crazy for saying that I'm enjoying Messiah just as much, maybe more than the first book? The hero's rise to power is a familiar archetype in classic storytelling. Us, the consumer, tends to replay the hero's journey because we have an emotional need to witness that hero succeed. Absolutely, you're totally right there. Our systems continue to fail us, and our own universe does not care about justice. Seeing Paul, the hero, stumble into oblivion is Herbert deliberately not validating our idealisms. Paul is innocent and guilty. He's Muad'Dib and the child simultaneously. And, thanks to you, CBG, Ellen Moore comes to mind. It's the job of the artist to give the audience what they need, and I think you're 100% right. It's like Herbert is deliberately not validating our idealisms. Like, you are so on the nose with that. Like, yes, like that is 100% correct. Like, he's trying to show us, like, yeah, we have this hero's journey, and the hero's journey is awesome, but that's just the top. And there's always a fall. Like, nothing ever, like, it doesn't just keep going up and up and up and up. Like, that's a lie that we tell ourselves, It's like things go like the sine wave, Things are up and things are down. And what comes up must come down. And so now it's Paul's turn. And he really wants to show us as people, like, he wanted to build up this hero, this ideal hero that we would follow into anything, and show that even this guy's still fallible. Like, even this guy's gonna fall. Like, even this guy, like, can't make it. Like, again, Paul is like, I thought of myself as an inventor of government. And we, too, as the readers, were like, yeah, he's gonna fix everything. And he can't. He doesn't. He can't fix everything. Like, there's no one that can fix everything, And so because that's the thing, is like, Herbert doesn't want us to put our trust in these idealized leaders and gods and messiahs, like, that's a mistake. He thinks that that's a mistake, and he wants to show you what a mistake that is. And like, even this perfect guy like Paul, like, can't solve all the problems. With this guy with ultimate power, still can't make everything work, like, it's just like, it's impossible. So yes, you're totally on. Yes. Matt Rad says, yes, Team 19, thanks for doing this. Rereading Dune Messiah has been a real blessing. Might be a bit premature, but can I get your thoughts on the parallels between Nietzschean Overman and the Rise of Paul Atreides? I believe Herbert is giving Nietzsche the finger in this book. Thanks, and long live the fighters. Well, that totally ties in exactly what we were just talking about with Jay Linus's question. It's like, yeah, it's like Nietzsche has like the Overman, the Superman, It's like, and again, we have the Superman is our Overman, It's like, he's our Paul Atreides. It's like, we all have these archetypes of these heroes who are like better than us humans and can do things that we can't do, and like, we look to these people to like inspire us, but we want them to like save us, instead of looking to save ourselves. And that's what Herbert is like. Don't look to somebody else to save you. You need to save yourself. You need to save yourself. You need to be self-sufficient. You need to be able to make your own decisions. You don't need to look to an authority figure to figure out everything in your life, because like, that's not gonna work. Like, that's not gonna work. Like, you have to find it in yourself. Like, you have to do that. Jesse Juarez says, Teen Alia remains best girl. What does it say about Herbert's skill as an author that he can jump from a space drama about an emperor dealing with the ramifications of ascending to a religious icon to just straight up an episode of Gilmore Girls featuring Alia and her crush Hate? Love you all. Long live Robot's friend Bobo. Totally. I mean, that's one thing that I love about Dune Messiah, is like, where it does have these like abrupt changes, like these different, from chapter to chapter, it's like these different feelings, and I really like all of them. And I love that we went to CSI Arrakis with like a love interest thing going on, and then we go directly into Paul like having this like very theatrical, dramatic, fucked up on spice visions, like running around all fucking crazy, from the shit. Like, it's just like, I think that it says a lot about Herbert's skill, because I dig it. I know that there's a lot of people, I've read reviews of people who don't dig it and want something that's more like the first book. But I also think it's like, I think it's another middle finger too. I think it's like another fuck you, where it's like, oh, Herbert's like, you want me to be boxed in and give you exactly what I gave you before? Well, fuck that. Like, because the first Dune, it doesn't really jump around. Like, these chapters don't jump around like this and have these kind of different flavors to them like they do in Messiah. And so I think that, yeah, I like it too. I'm with you. Some people don't, but I'm into it. Morgan Reynolds, in the first book, we spent a lot of time with the Fremen, so it was narratively important to understand how valuable water is. But this book goes even further, describing time and prescience with water metaphors, describing the guild plots with limited prescience as fish monsters, and even describing some casual interactions waterly as Chani peered up from him, concern in her eyes. Those eyes drank him. An outpouring of emotion swept upward from her hand, buoyed him. Is the water motif here something more philosophical than narrative driven at this point? Why has Herbert got such a boner for this water shit? Okay, so in the occult, there's four suits of the tarot. You know, you have the wands, the swords, the pentacles, and the cups. And each one of these responds to an element: earth, air, fire, water. And the cups respond to water. And the cup suit and water is representative usually of like emotions, you know, like if there's an emotional element to it, like emotions are very fluid, you know. I mean, like if you think about it, like the way we deal with emotions is very fluid. And so I think that there's a little bit of that stuff in there, you know, especially when it's like those eyes drank him, an outpouring of emotion swept upward from her hand, buoyed him. So it's like emotions are very much very fluid, and so is time, you know. So it's like this is like the perfect metaphor for both emotions and time, you know. It's just like so good. So that's my answer. There's probably more to it than that, you know. It's like Frank Herbert's like working on a lot of levels. So, but that's you know, that's what I think's going on. Jared Reese says, how was the Dune Tarot able to mess with Paul's vision? I assumed it was more to do with the will of the species, zeitgeist, direction of humanity, macro level stuff than tarot readings on an individual basis. Please help again before my head explodes. Thanks. I love all of the Team 19's great work. Okay. Here's something, going back to the tarot. Here's something that I've found. Because sometimes, like, there's been a specific question in my life that has come up. And I will consult the tarot. And I'll be like, okay, what do these cards say? Cool. But then, like, sometimes, like, they don't necessarily tell you what you want to hear, or you forget what they tell you, or whatever your reason is. But you go back, and sometimes you, like, ask the same questions several times. And I feel like when you do that, it does muddy everything, you know. It's like it does muddy when you keep like asking the same questions like over and over, and you're doing like a tarot reading on the same problem over and over again. It's just like it is gonna muddy up the message, you know. It is gonna get weird. And so I feel like that's kind of what's going on with the Dune Tarot here. And it's like you have all these people dabbling in prescience, and like Alia says, like the Fremen are notoriously fey, you know. I mean, they do have like a little bit of that shining, you know, because that's the thing about prescience is like it's like the shine, you know. It's like some people, like Paul, has it on a whole other level, but there's a lot of people who have it on a very, very small level. I mean, and I think a lot of people, like just intuition, I mean, like just human beings have a small bit of these sorts of things. But when everyone starts trying to participate in this, and everyone's trying to read the future, that would kind of start blocking everything and messing up everything. Does this make any sense the way I'm saying this? So that's what I think. It's just like all these people trying to play at prescience. Like some of them will hit, some of them will not, but it's like definitely like changing the way that people are moving too, because it's like people are going to these oracles now more than ever, and then they're asking these oracles for things, and these oracles tell them things, and then those things like put them on a path, you know, to where they're trying to like do something different, where it's like messing with what people would have normally done if they hadn't looked for those things. And maybe that messes up Paul, because he can't like predict what they're going to do, you know, because they're predicting for themselves. But yeah, what you're saying, Corpopolis, lots of people fishing in the same water equals not good fishing. That's a great analogy. That's such a smart analogy. Like fucking kudos to you. Yes, a lot of people, like, you know, fucking trying to throw their rods in and everything else. It's like it's gonna mess up the water too. It's just like it's too many cooks in the fucking kitchen, you know. Kristen Roberts says, why does Paul want Stilgar to learn about the golden age of Earth and specifically Hitler? What exactly is he trying to get Stilgar to understand? Also, it is mentioned that the Jihad has sterilized 90 planets. It seems odd since they are trying to stir up the gene pool, or is it just the unintended consequences? Yeah, I feel like it's unintended consequences, and I feel like, you know, to create, you must destroy. And so they're in the destruction phase, you know, it's like where just shit gets fucked up and like people get bowled over and like things are changed. And you know, when you sterilize those planets, well, you are changing the gene pool. I mean, you are changing it. I mean, it makes me think of like the Phoenix. You know, Paul kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Phoenix in Marvel, where it's like the Phoenix Force is like this you know, entity of death and rebirth, you know, and in order to have the rebirth, there first must be the death. And so right now, all this death is happening so that humanity in the long run can live a full and fruitful life. You know, it's like when you have a tree, like a fruit tree, and sometimes you have to prune the fruit tree and its branches and cut it back so that it can bear better fruits. Because if you let the fruit tree get too big, it gets too spread out, then like the fruits that come out like are not as good and there's too many of them and they're all kind of little and crappy. But then if you prune the tree, then like you have less fruits, but they're more quality fruits. So it's kind of like, I feel like that's what's going on here. And as for why Paul wants to learn, Stilgar to learn about the golden age of Earth, is I think he's trying to teach him that hermetic axiom of as above, so below. The things that are going on in the golden age of Earth, you know, over 21,000 years ago or whatever, is like still applicable to today. You know, he wants Stilgar to see the patterns, and also to understand his own place in those patterns and like where he fits into all this. But yeah, people who wouldn't give in though were destroyed. Yeah, you're right about that. Blue stocking. Like, it's just like, he's like, oh yeah, you guys are really gonna fight me? Well, okay, like, fuck you, you're dead. You know, like, sorry guys. Let's see here. Mario, just wondering about the religion of the Kizeret is spreading in the universe following the Jihad. If it is based on the Fremen religion, it will contain many elements introduced by the missionary Protectiva, and that could be used by the Bene Gesserit on a large scale. Yeah, absolutely. Like the Fremen religion, although now it's mutated. Like, it has mutated beyond what it was, you know, being influenced originally by like the Missionaria Protectiva, the Bene Gesserit, like placing all these like ideas and myths and legends in their head. Now that those myths and legends have come true for them, that they've manifested in reality, that totally changes the game. And then now that they have a living God, you know, I mean, Paul and his sister and goddess, I mean, it's like Alia is like on the religious throne. Like, now that you have these two, it's like it's definitely mutated to something way beyond what the Bene Gesserit originally intended. And so, yes, I mean, the Bene Gesserit could still manipulate this religion. But I mean, that they manipulate any religion. It doesn't matter. They manipulate anything. Like, that's just like, they're constantly like, they work from the shadows, you know, they're trying to always like indirectly and another word for manipulate, a nicer word for manipulate, is influence. So of course they're going to be able to influence this. But again, it's like so widespread. It's so, they have a living God. I mean, it's like, that's really hard for them to kind of contain, because before it's like there was no, you know, living God to say yes or no. Now you have Paul on the throne who's like, yes, this is great. No, this sucks. And so like before you could be like, oh yeah, God would say this or whatever, you know, no one would know because there was nobody to fucking back it up, you know? So yes, they could still influence, but I don't think it's like, you know, any more or less than they necessarily could before. Pierre Jerome says, so Paul mentions Hitler and underestimates the numbers the Nazi killed. Though Paul fails to mention or realize that Hitler actively wanted the extermination of Jews, Roma, Slavs, and any other considered subhuman, homosexuals, disabled, Freemasons, political opponents, prisoners of war, the list goes on and on. Paul, on the other hand, is behind the death of 61 billion that he never wished for, but like an impotent god, he is powerless to stop it. He was merely the spark that caused the fire. So my question to you is, why does he care about these deaths and his impotence? What is the point of political machinations and plots if the extermination is well beyond measure? In essence, Dune has already gone post-apocalyptic. Why bother beyond survival in a post-apocalyptic world? And I mean, it's not even, I mean, I guess it's kind of post-apocalyptic, but it's more like in apocalyptic, like they're going through a type of apocalypse, a type of like great war. And so, but again, it's like, it's all to like, it's a Machiavellian thing. The ends justify the means, sometimes you have to destroy to create. And so like he understands why this is happening and he gets it, but it doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't make it feel any better. And like he hates the fact, like he says, all the killing that's gone on in the name of this, in the Atreides name, this religious butchery. I mean, even though he sees the long-term goal of it and he sees what they're working for as a human species that most people don't see, and he sees beyond like the good and evil and the religious aspects of it, it's still just like, it's still hard to watch, like nobody wants to have that shit in their name. Like that sucks. Like it's fucking bummer. Like he gets the reasons for it and he's gonna go with it, but like he doesn't have to like it, and he definitely doesn't. And the thing is like Paul is a human being, like he does care, and that's what makes him so tragic. It's just like he isn't doing this for personal power. He isn't doing this for ego reasons. He's doing this simply because there's nobody else who can do this, and it's something that needs to be done. It's something that he sees that needs to be done, and he's in the specific place to do it, and he's been placed in this situation. And so being a good ass responsible dude motherfucker, he's gonna do it. He's gonna take on the burden, even though it super fucking sucks. But again, it's like he's not gonna like it. Ugh. Mario also just visited the House of Terror in Budapest on Nazi and Soviet occupation, and I was thinking about Paul's jihad all the time and felt disgusted. Maybe also Paul organized mass deportations and slavery. Who knows? I lost some respect in him, and maybe also to Paul himself. Or maybe it happened also to Paul himself. So that's that's perfect, Mario. I'm glad that you bring that up. Yeah, I mean, it's just like all this death and destruction, like it is disgusting, it would be awful. And of course, like that's what Paul was saying is like, I thought of myself as an inventor of government, like essentially saying like, I thought I could make some new shit work and things would be different under me. I had every intention of making things, I want to make things better. I'm a good guy. I don't want to see all this fucked up shit, but like, there's nothing you can do. Like, it's like the universe is how it is. Humans work how they work. You can't stop humans from being dumb pieces of shit. It's like, it's going to happen. And so there is definitely slavery still going on in his name. There's definitely like fucked up shit going on, and it's just like, it's a fucking bummer. Like, and you can't escape these things. It's like, we all, I don't know. I feel like we all like say like, oh, well, when I'm in charge, it's going to be like this, and then when you actually are in charge and you see the real problems and you see like the reality of the situation and there's not much you can do about it. It sucks, and that you have to kind of like, that's one thing I feel like I was talking to this girl Felicia, and we were talking about like how like younger people, like when you first get out of college, you haven't been in the workforce yet, and so young people have all these ideas. They're like, okay, I'm gonna change things, and I see all these problems, and like they have all these, they're very idealistic. And that's because they haven't had to move within the world, and like they haven't been beaten down by the world, and they don't see the reality of human beings and how fucked up and terrible we are. No matter how idealized you are, it's like it's so hard to get anything done. It's so hard to create change, like any meaningful change, because humans are so resistant, and there's always a pushback. And then as you get older and as you're in the workforce and as you see how difficult things are and you see the reality of the situation and you become to this point where you're just like, you kind of drop those ideals. You have to have a measure of acceptance. You have to accept how fucked up things are, and then you have to like do your best within an imperfect system. You see the system and you see how corrupt it is. I mean, it's just absolute corruption, and to work within that system, like you're going to have to deal with it to some degree, and there are going to be unpleasant things that you may have to be a part of or you may have to do. And there's no way around it, and again, it's just like, it's It's that fucking thing. It's like, do the ends justify the means? You know, like, is it a thing? And yeah, it's like sometimes you gotta get beaten down by the earth, you know, a little bit beaten down by life before you realize like what's really up. Because when we're young and sheltered, you know, before you get out there in the world, you just really think like, oh, I see all the problems, I can fix all this shit. And then you get into it and you're like, oh wait, this is a really complicated fucking issue. Like, there's no way that I can solve this myself. You know, there's no way. So yeah, so that's all of our questions from Patreon. Let's take some questions from you guys. Mintat Muse, by the way, I like what you're saying. We do the best we can with the information we have and hope there is a forgiving God. Yeah. Oh yeah, John R. Dune Club says exactly how my animal rescue career went. Absolutely, dude. 100%. You're like, I'm gonna get an animal rescue, I'm gonna fix all this shit, da da da, and then you get into it and you're like, oh fuck. Like, and I'm sure that you've had to deal with some, like, I couldn't do what you do. I mean, I couldn't do what you do. I have too much of a soft heart, man. I can't even kill fucking spiders, you know? It's just like, I can't. But it's necessary sometimes. Like, sometimes you do have to put animals down. Sometimes they are a problem. Like, sometimes there's some real shit going on, and sometimes it's not fair. And so, you know, it's just like, it's so fucked up. So yeah. E23EE asks, how do you pronounce your name? I pronounce my name Danika, but there are Danikas. Also, some people call me Danika. I'll accept Danika because that sounds fancy to me. I'm like, oh, okay, Danika. Oh, yeah, it sounds like cool. But if somebody tries to call me Danika, I'm like, no, bro, it's not Danika. It's Danika. But there are, in fact, girls who do use the pronunciation Danika. It's just not me. It's just not me. Magnus Danger, you think there are more Patreon? Did I not get to your Patreon question, Magnus? Did you add one in? Because I had it open. Let me reopen this program. Let me see here. Let me like reload. Did you have a question? Did you have a question? Let's see here. Let me look here. 37 comments. Oh shit. Yeah, okay. All right, let's see here. There are a couple more. Clear Menster asks, what kind of similarities can we see between the Fremen and rednecks? Was this already addressed in Dune Club 1? In both, I see a highly specialized culture that's part of an environment pretty separate from higher cultures. In both, I see large body of myths, a reliance on those myths as structural parts. Well, that's, yeah, I mean, absolutely. There are, you can relate the Fremens to like rednecks to a degree. Like anyone who lives with more imbalance with nature in a less city type environment and a more, less urban, more country environment, because this is like a country ass motherfucking place. Like this place is like super country. So absolutely, like there's a lot of similarities. Like any people, like I mean, if you go to any city or any country, it's like, you know, you have the people who live in the countryside and the people who live in the cities, the city mice and the country mice, and they're totally different. Not totally different, but there are differences, and the Fremen are definitely country mice. They're not city mice, just like rednecks. So yeah. Mrs. Superconductor says, dude, Paul letting 61 peeps die in his name to me isn't consistent with Paul Atreides' character, especially since Paul's prescient, so she should be able to see what's happening and then takes action to stop it. But that's the thing. You can't stop it. He can't stop it. Like, this is what humanity wants to do. It's not what he wants to do. It's what humanity wants to do. And again, it's like fighting and fucking are very intertwined. And there's a stagnant gene pools within the Empire. It's very fucking stagnant. And in order to diversify the gene pool, this jihad was brought into existence by everyone. Everyone did this, even though everyone's complaining about it, everyone hates it. Everyone played a part in creating it. And in creating it, you've had this mass influx of all this shit, and like all these, like, you even had that guy who's like saying, I have a fucking grandchild on Naraj, you know, like I can't believe that, you know, it's like, so, you know, the gene pool's definitely been stirred up, and that was the whole thing. It's like, it's and he doesn't want it to happen like this, but you know, that's the deal. So yeah, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. But yeah, well, city rats and country rats all get the same fate of the trap. That's true. That's fucking true. You know, it's like us little rats. We're all, you know, we have these larger fucking interests, whether it's a corporation, whether it's a government, whether it's whatever a religion, like whatever the fuck it is, like, you know, they're manipulating all of us. And I hate to see how city mice and country mice are turned against one another all the time. You know, it's just like, it's a real shame that we fall into those traps so easily. And but it's a divide and conquer. It's an ancient form. People have used it for a long time. People in power have used it for a long time. They're still using it today. But I think it's up to the people. It's up to the country mice and the city mice to stop allowing ourselves to be pulled into this. And even though we may have differences of opinion, realize that like we are on the same level and like find ways to work together. I think that's really important. Because I do see, I mean, living in LA, I do see a lot of people who scoff at like, oh, you know, middle America or the South or whatever the fuck, you know, and it's like, oh, those people are just crazy, like, fuck them, you know, and it's like, oh, fuck you. No, there's a lot of great, amazing, good people everywhere, like, and it's like, maybe you should take the time to understand why they feel the way they feel instead of just writing them off, you know. And the same thing, I see the same thing when I go back home to Alabama. People are like, oh, LA, people in LA are fucking assholes, you know, and it's just like, like both, it's like, oh, you guys, like everybody, like fucking chill, like just fucking chill, like just a little bit. Unite against the cats that eat us. Yes. You know, it's like we have to. There's wisdom. You know, like I love the Fremen saying, like wisdom comes from the desert and polish from the cities. You know, and I feel like that's true. It's like there's a lot of wisdom in the country. I mean, there's like a lot of like amazing, great stuff there that you can find, you know. I mean, I like the country mice in that they're more real, you know, like they're not as into these illusions. They don't delude themselves in the same way that people in the cities delude themselves. There's a slower pace of life. There's more of an appreciation for things. There's more of an acceptance that I respect and admire in a lot of ways. I wish I kind of had more. I'm obviously more of a city mouse. I enjoy the country, but I definitely like I'm more of a city mouse. But this again, the same thing though. It's like, you know, I'll hear like my uncle, you know, and he'll just be like, oh, fucking LA, like bunch of fucking assholes, you know, and it's like, well, yeah, there are, but there's also a lot of, again, really amazing people, really creative people doing like really interesting things, like the cities. And here's my thing. Human beings are all like little antennas, you know. I feel like we're all these little antennas and we're all channeling, you know, from this kind of greater force that's like beyond us, but we all get a little piece of the puzzle, you know. We all have little pieces of this puzzle. And we're all conductive, like we're antennas in that we're conductive to this force, you know, this fucking whatever it is. And the thing about cities that is necessary is that when you have a bunch of people and they all start living in a same place, then that place becomes more conductive. So like that's why you see, you know, a lot of innovations and new ideas coming out of cities, because there's so many little conductors, there's so many little human beings all together, and it becomes a very super conductive area. And in that area, more people are able to gain, you know, these ideas and like get these things from whatever, you know, like get into the idea sphere and grab these new ideas. It comes to people in cities generally. You know, it's easier to find those ideas when you're in a city with other superconductors. It makes the whole place, it raises the vibration of the entire place. But at the same time, that's not to discount, like there's still like, there's something to be said for isolation as well. I mean, there's something to be said for people who live in a more spread out area where it's not as super conductive, but then you have a more personal journey where you have people who, because they're isolated, they come up with they find some truths too, man. I mean, there's some real truths that come out of nowhere. You know, like there's some real shit and innovations that also come out of nowhere. But that's like shit where it's like someone's like isolated and then they like find it on their own, you know, and it's like, God, I have so much respect for that. So yeah. Country mice are very intolerant in my experience. Southern hospitality is a joke. Well, you know, I mean, people are sassy in the South too, but I think that there is a Southern hospitality thing. I do, because I was just talking about this. If you break down, if your car breaks down in the South, you better believe that someone's going to pull over and help you. Or at least in my experience, being a cute white girl, maybe I have a different experience than other people in the South. I'm not sure. But talking from my own experience, people pull over, help me with stuff, help me fix my car, and they'll help, and they know what they're doing. Like, they know about cars. Like, they know what they're doing. But on the West Coast, it's like, no one's going to stop you if you're broke down on the side of the road. No one's going to stop you. No one's going to stop and help you with your fucking car. No, it's totally different. It is totally different. And that's the thing, is like, because in the South, things are harder. It is harder to survive and it's harder to live. And so people like work together a little bit more. I feel like there's more of like a sense of community, because it's like you have to work together because, things are a little more difficult. Whereas in the city, there's a lot more convenience, but then people are less apt to help each other, because it's like, oh, well, you have your own problems. But I feel like there is something to it, but people are still bitchy in the South too. They're bitchy everywhere. They're bitchy everywhere. Yeah. Well, okay. So Sadie, you said you help others of all colors and other people. And that's another thing too, is like everyone thinks the South is so fucking racist. And it's like, I'm not going to sit here and say that there isn't racism in the South. There absolutely is. But there's also racism in California. There's racism in New York. There's racism everywhere. There's racism in every country. There's racism in every fucking city. So to single out the South and act like they're the only assholes, like that's kind of fucking stupid. And in fact, though, another thing too that I find really interesting is me growing up in the South. It's like generally in the South, there's like, and maybe since I've left, things have gotten a little bit more diversified, but you generally have, white people, you got black people. That's about it. You don't really have a lot of anybody else. There's small pockets, here and there, but there's not a lot. And like, but because of that, it's like, I hung out with a lot of black people. It was cool. I had a lot of experiences. Like, I went to the June Black Arts Festival. My boss, Gary, he was my friend Bianca's dad. He taught me how to airbrush. And, like, he was a black man. And people would give us weird looks when we were, like, hanging out. Because it's like I was a young white girl and he was an older black guy. But it's like, dude, I'm his apprentice. Like, you guys chill the fuck out. But I had all these amazing experiences, and I got to experience like fucking man, the food, god damn, like the barbecue, the cornbread, like it's just like so amazing. Like I used to work for this this black owned, this guy was he used to be an NFL player, and then he bought this one club, and then he bought another club, and he had one club was like his more like black club, because things really are I'm not gonna say they're not segregated. There is segregation in the South. That is a real thing. It's like he had his black club, and then he had his like more like white club, and it was like this really, it was kind of like, okay, but he was the owner, he was the one perpetuating this. But I remember I was like helping them make menus for the black club, and man, they had this fucking buffet, and like Jesus Christ, like this fucking food was so fucking good. It was just amazing. I don't know, I'm just like a big fan. And like when you go to other places, there's a lot of people in the world, or a lot of people in the US who like have not hung out with black people and like been cool and like partied and had a good time and eaten food and like had a fun time. Like, so there's a lot of people who are like, oh, racism, blah, 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 the South. But it's like, well, actually, but then they've like never have zero black friends, have had zero black experience, have zero black culture in their lives. And then they're pointing fingers at other people. And it's just like, no, I'm really glad I got to grow up in the South, because like I got to be a part of that culture a little bit, and it was just fucking amazing. Like, oh my God, it's like so much fun. But I like outsiders, like anyone who's like the underdog and the outsiders. I generally am like, yes, like you're doing great, like keep going. So yeah, dude, cornbread is so good. Okay, anyways, all right, so let's take some questions from you guys. But yeah, it's really interesting that we're like people who grew up with like, they had an all white school, but then they're like telling me about this, that, and the other, and you're like, you don't even like have any experience. What are you talking about? Like, it's like people who've like never done drugs who like tell you about drugs, and you're just like, what are you talking about? Like, oh my God, like please stop talking. You sound so ignorant right now. You sound so ignorant right now. But yeah. Anyways, anybody got any questions out there, guys? Anybody got any questions out there? You want to talk about, Tyson, you want to talk about while you guys are coming up with some questions? Wow. The old Atreides is talking about, there will always be discrimination. I think we could dismantle racism if we wanted to. Racism is a term invented in the 1700s or 1800s, and the ideas that go along with it are outdated. Look, here's the thing. You don't need skin color for humans to hate each other, okay? Like, if you took racism out of the equation and, like, all of a sudden everyone woke up and we were all the same color, we would find another reason to hate each other, you know? I mean, you go to, like, other countries and it's like, oh, everyone's the same color, but then they hate each other because they're this sect of the religion and the other one's the other sect of the religion. So people just hate people. Like, humans hate ourselves. Like, we have a problem. We're fucked up little creatures. It's like, whether it's going to be skin color or whether it's going to be whatever the fuck, we're going to find a reason. Whether it's, oh, you have a vagina and I have a dick, I'm going to hate you because you're, you know, it's like, it's always some shit, you know? It's like, we're always going to find a reason to hate each other. That's just like human fucking nature. It sucks, but it's the truth. But yeah. Let's see here. Let me look through here. Let me see if we got any other questions coming on. Sadly, Dark Phoenix is in post-production. There's no way to shelve it and just give up on that money. I don't know, Davey. I don't know if that's true. I think that you might be able to, they might be able to shelve it. I mean, they bought it.
Theoretically,
they bought it.
Lose more money by releasing the movie and devaluing.
Look, yes.
Because they make billions from the Marvel movies. The X-Men movies, except for Deadpool, have never reached close to what the most recent Marvel movies are making. Oh, by the way, though, Deadpool is the closest thing I've ever seen to an X-Men movie. Deadpool 2 is the closest thing I've ever seen to an X-Men movie. Let's just put that out there. Like, that is what I would like to see in an X-Men film. Okay, that embodies what the X-Men are about. You know, it is about finding young mutants who, it's not about fighting the big bad. It's about finding young mutants who don't have control of their powers, who are in a fucked up situation, and helping them and helping, like, you know, things to, like, not be bad and, like, clean up a situation that could be bad for everybody, you know, like, that's, like, really what it's more about, is, like, mentorship and guiding and things like that. It's not about, like, oh, apocalypse, you know, who fucking cares, you know, like, that's a part of it, but that's not, like, what it's really about. Old Atreides is talking about Movie Bob, where he complains about Gunn was outed by, like, trolls on the internet, like alt-right trolls that got Gunn fired, and Disney caved to that shit. And yeah, man, I mean, happened. But like I was saying, it's like, I don't think that they could hire him back, because if they did, then that would be, they were admitting fault. They would be admitting fault legally. And so now Gunn could go sue the fuck out of them. You know, and so I don't think that they're going to hire him back just because of that sort of stuff. Even though they may want to, even though they may be like, oh shit, maybe we jumped the gun a little bit. They did jump.
They jumped the gun a little bit. But yeah. Anyways, back to Dune. What is the symbolism of metal eyes in Duncan? You know, okay, here's something that I think about with the metal eyes. And I don't know if this is true or not. In my head, he just has, like, these. He doesn't have any eyelids in my head. Like, when in my head, when I see hate, he just has these, like, just circles, like these just big metal circles, you know. And he doesn't, like, blink, and he doesn't have, like. And I am sure it's not like that. Like, I don't think that that's what was intended. But in my mind, I just see him as, like, just these, like, kind of cartoon, like, you know, creepy metal eyeballs. I don't see him as, like, blinking and, like, closing his eyes and stuff like that. But that's just me. I don't know. Let's see here. Family friend moved to the South when he got married. Was shocked that he didn't have to lock his car. Yeah, you don't have to lock your car. You don't have to lock your front door. Well, depending on what area you live in. There's some areas where you do need to do that. Like Savannah, Macon. Like, there's some dangerous areas, but, like, there's some other areas where it's like you can just be chill. So EK209 says, flesh reaching for flesh. Being 33 and not dating much or having really any relationships reminding me of how much I'm looking for someone in my life, not even bringing sex into the mix. We have a human desire to touch and be touched. Was Frank Herbert a humanist, I presume? Absolutely. He was 100% a humanist. That's why it's like there's no technology in this. Like, there's, like, very little technology, because he's like, fuck that shit. I want to see what humans can do, not what technology can do. That doesn't impress me. Yeah, and I mean, there is a human desire to touch and be touched, and, like, I'm one of those people. Like, I know people who don't like to be touched. Like, I have a certain friend where, like, I have to remember to not hug her because that makes her feel uncomfortable, and that's her thing, and it's like I have to learn to respect that. And, like, every now and then she'll let me, you know, like, you know, because I like to hug. I'm a hugger sometimes. And but like for me, you know, you're talking about how, you know, you're looking for someone, not even for the sex bit, just for like, you know, having someone to touch and be touched. You know, that's what I was talking about, taking baths and taking like showers, hot showers, like that kind of simulates that. But one thing that I can recommend to you, go to a massage place. I go to massage places. Like there's this hour-long foot massage place for like, it's like neck, back, shoulders, feet for like $25. And I get little people to squeeze my body in a dark room. Like, I think that massages, if you're looking for that and you can't have, you know, a relationship with somebody necessarily, you haven't found anyone to have like a relationship with on that level, but you still desire human contact, I highly recommend massage. Massage is really good for you, and that way you can get touched by another human being, and then you kind of get that a little bit. It's not quite the same, obviously. I mean, it's more fulfilling when it's a lover.
Also, part of human development as a baby is being touched.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's you have to be touched. You do. Well, I know there's these fucked up. I read about these fucked up experiments where like they wouldn't touch babies. Like they wouldn't touch the babies. Yeah. They wouldn't like give them like talk to them or love them and just see what happened. They fucking die. They would fucking die. Like you have to touch and be touched. Like it's a thing. It's a total thing. So that's some real shit, you know. What comics am I reading right now? Recommendations. I'm like Snot Girl. It's like my main thing, but that's not for everybody. And the reason I like it is just like it's, I don't know, very much I can relate to it a lot. It's got a lot of my own personal interests. It's like a green-haired girl who lives in LA, she's a fashion blogger, social media influencer, who's a total mess, and is on some like fucking medications that like make her hallucinate and she like sees fucking weird shit for allergies, because like she has mad allergies, and like she's called Snot Girl because like for allergies get all kicked up, then she'll start like snotting everywhere. So she's on this like weird, yeah, there's like a murder mystery thing going on. I don't know, I really like it. Urban Ninja says, how are you doing this week? You seem like you had good energy, though it might be the Red Bull talking. It could be a little bit of the Red Bull. I did have some Red Bull. It gave me some wings. But I'll tell you the thing that I've been really energized over the past few days because I finally got my shipping labels to work. I was fighting to print shipping. I had all like a back order. I was like 2 weeks behind on my orders. I felt awful. And like every time I was like trying to like do this stuff, it was just a nightmare. And I finally figured it out. I finally got it working. By the way, Indicia sucks, stamps.com. And like, I got like a shit ton of packages out. So that felt like I got a burden lifted. I lifted this burden off me. There's still a few more I have to do, but I got like the majority of them out, and that felt really great. And then also, I guess I'll tell you guys. I mean, I kind of mentioned this earlier. I'll tell you guys, but I have some exciting things going on. Like, not only did the Dune Wave thing happen, it's like, oh wait, now I have like a fucking baby's first fucking album. Because like, okay, I love Dazzler, and like I'm not a singer, but I would love to be a fucking awesome pop star. And so this way it's like, oh, I didn't have to sing, I didn't have to write a song, I just like read someone else's words, and like it's fucking sick. Like, it's so good. Not only that, I'm developing potentially a fashion line for some casual cosplay stuff. I feel like right now there's a lot of people who work from home. And when you work from home, it's like you just end up wearing pajamas and you just feel like a piece of shit. And like there needs to be some sort of clothes for people who like work from home but like don't want to like feel like a piece of shit, where it's like comfortable shit. Like it's like kind of lounge / athletic wear, where it's like you can wear it, be comfortable, but also go out and like not look like a fucking piece of shit, you know? Like you haven't seen anybody in 10 days because maybe you haven't. So I'm developing like some lounge athletic wear. But another thing that I've noticed, another hole in the market, is that I've noticed that like, I mean, I've been doing this a lot in my own life and it gives me a thrill, is casual cosplay, where I dress like a character that I like, but not where it's like I'm in a full costume. I'm wearing like normal clothes, but that just kind of resemble the characters that I love, so I can kind of like bring that energy. Like I've had several Joker Wave nights where I dress up in my Joker Wave outfit, and like people fucking love it, and people don't even know what I'm doing. They're like, what are you look amazing, you know? And I'm just like, thanks, like it's my Joker Wave. They're like, I didn't even know what the fuck, but like this is like killing it. So people are kind of a fan of it. And like No, and it's fun. And like, I want to share this with other people. Like, I want other people to get involved in it because, like, I mean, I did a whole TEDx talk about how you can learn about yourself through characters that you like, through characters that you dislike in the fiction that you read. If you relate to a certain character or you hate a certain character, it's usually because you see something within yourself. You know, you're responding to something that is within you. And so there's a way to like kind of bring these ideas and like these attributes to the forefront, you know, where it's like I feel like sometimes I need to be a little bit more chaotic, and like when I want to do my chaos missions, it's like I'll put on the Joker wave, you know, and it's like, and you just laugh at life and like who cares, you know, like fuck it, embrace the chaos. And also here's another thing, there's a lot of shit designed for girls. There's a lot of cosplay wear designed for girls and stuff, but there's not really a lot of stuff for dudes. And I know that there's a lot of dudes out there who like want to represent their dude, but don't want to like dress up in a full costume because like that's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, it is a little dorky, you know, if you don't have the physique for it, you know, you may feel uncomfortable with it. But it's like, I want to design some clothes for dudes that represent like main like characters that you like, but you can wear, like, say you want to go to convention, you want to be comfortable, you don't want to wear a whole costume, but you want to represent your bro. So you have like a Cyclops polo or a fucking, you know, Wolverine polo, whatever. So anyways, I had this meeting with a girl about my casual cosplay line, and I have like my first thing designed. I don't want to say anything, I don't want to like jinx myself exactly, I'm not going to show you exactly what it is, but I have like a whole like outfit, you know, designed for a starter one. And like we just connected, we had a really great experience, and I've been working with this other girl, Megan, too, so it's like, I don't know, like things are going really well, and if I could like, designing clothes would be such a fucking dream come true for me. Like, I've wanted to design clothes my whole life. Like, I love clothes. I'm a fucking clothing slut. I'm a big fan of clothes, and being able to maybe potentially, like, design them and manufacture them and sell them and create a brand would be fucking awesome. I mean, it would just be, like, really fulfilling. So, I don't know. I've gotten some energy from that. That's definitely like been giving me some life, you know. It's like Dune Wave's been giving me life, and then my casual cosplay line has been giving me some life, and I've just had these new creative opportunities that have come to me, you know, that I haven't even had to work for, that just randomly kind of happened, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm hoping that we can go somewhere with this. And God, dude, I'm telling you, like, I would love to design clothes. You don't even know. I've been designing clothes since I was a kid. I've been drawing clothes forever. Like, oh my God, I love clothes. I'm a motherfucking trendsetter. Like, I know what the fuck. It's so.
You showed me your portfolio when you first met me, and it was like all your drawings of like girls and clothes.
No,
That's what you showed me.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
There's also pictures of you kissing boys from TV.
Yeah, Tyson, when I first met T, I showed him my sketchbook. This was like in college, and I guess there's a lot of pictures of girls in clothing. There's a lot of outfits that I had designed, and then there's a lot of pictures of me like making out with dudes and like cartoons of me like doing shenanigans.
Making out with somebody.
You've never seen anyone draw themselves making out with somebody. You've never done that? You've never been like lonely and sad and you just like fucking what? Is that just me? Am I just a fucking sad pervert? Like, oh no. What the fuck? P-Mac knows what's up. P-Mac out here. He does some, but he draws like some interesting stuff. But yeah, I do it all the time. Who cares? Whatever. I don't know. I like to draw my, it's instead of having a journal, you know, I'm not as good of a writer. I'm definitely more of a drawer. And so having a sketchbook for me is kind of like having a journal. And so I draw myself a lot. And I draw myself doing different things and hanging out with different people and wearing different outfits. Like sometimes I'll wear a really cool outfit and I'll draw my outfit of the day and I'll be like, remember this cool outfit you wore.
Your sketchbook was very much fantasies.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very much fantasies, yes. But I mean, that's you know, that's what drawings are. I can give you a little bit of life when you're stuck and you don't, you know, it's like you don't have it going on in your real life, so you just kind of draw it.
Hey, I have a question.
What?
Can we go get this?
Tyson wants to go get food at Baja Fresh, and he's found
Coupon on the other side.
He's got a fucking coupon. This bitch has got coupons, guys. Gosh, some of you guys don't like massages. That's so crazy to me. Like, I just don't get it. Like, how could anyone not like a massage? How could anyone not like a massage? You know what's also crazy to me? Dudes that like have never gotten a massage. Like, there's so many guys that have been like, yeah, get a massage. And like every guy I talk to is like, I've never had a professional massage. And it's like, what? Like, and they just expect like girls to do it for them. And it's like, look, go pay someone else like I do. You know, like I go pay someone to get some shit done. And then maybe if guys went and got professionally massaged, they would actually know how to massage a girl, you know, because it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. It's like, no, you don't. Again, it's like telling people about drugs when you've never done drugs. It's like, go get a massage and then you can give a massage. Okay. Like that's like the deal. It's absolutely worth it.
Are you implying that your girlfriends are going to love your massages?
Yeah, girlfriend. Well, I mean, unless she doesn't like to be touched, but I think generally everyone likes to be massaged. Most people, even people who say they don't like to get massaged, like professionally, like they still want their girl or their boyfriend to do it. You know, it's like, it's really good. And I think it's good for you to just like, you know, smush everything. Like all this shit gets trapped in our muscles. Like all this tension, all this anxiety, all like physically, like there's actual like stuff like from blood and you know, we have all this crap that gets trapped in our muscles. And when you have someone who like squeezes all of them, you know, it helps flush out all that stuff and like moves everything around. I think that's good for it's good for your human body. You know, it's good for the body. So I think that, yeah. Kudzu Vines. My first massage was after my wife died because I missed human touch and I cried for half of it and it was very liberating. Hey, dude, see, you know what's up. Like, that's super sad. I'm glad you got a massage though, and I'm glad that it worked out for you. That human touch is really important. It's really fucking important. And it's good. It's important to let go too, man. It's important to like, I don't know. But I like going, I don't know, it's like cool when you have a moment with a stranger too. A lot of people don't like to be touched by strangers, but it's like, I kind of like it where it's like a single serving friend where you're just like, you're in this moment together. You're in a dark room. You're just being human. Someone's just, you know, human body, like this is a material thing. It needs to be serviced. Someone needs to touch it. Like someone needs to mush it. And you can have some really, really great experiences. It's good for you. Yeah, single serving friend. I got that from Fight Club. And I love it. I love single serving friends. Those are like some of my favorite friends. Because it's like you don't have to like get into like all your shit. You know, like you can just be there, a human in the moment, and they don't have to know everything good or bad about you. You don't have to know everything good or bad about them. It's just like you just have a simple connection for that moment, and then it's gone. And then there's no burden of having to continue on and help them with problems or whatever. You know, it's like I love my friends, but your friends, it's like you know all about their problems, every girl problem or boy problem or whatever the fuck, and it's just like it becomes kind of a burden. It's cumbersome emotionally to have friends. It's a lot of stuff to deal with, and like you want to help them when they're down and vice versa, they help you. But like, you know, with single serving friends, you don't have to do any of that. You can just have fun for the moment and just like let go and just like forget about your dumb problems. You know, but single serving friends, you know, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah. Oh, Dizzy Death says my cat needs my back. That's kind of a massage. Dude, we do Beans massages. Yes. Like, God, one time Billy, my last cat, she got on my back and she started kneading it. And I was just like, this is the best. But she only did it like once and it like never happened again. But like, I'll grab Beans and then just like do this on Tyson's back. And then you just feel her little paws. And I'll do that on my head too. She'll have both her little front paws. I'll do this. And then her little paws hit me. And it's like a little forehead massage. It's so good. It's like really great. I even want my cat to massage me. I'm like such a massage slut. I'm just like, yes. Yeah. I am Jack's sense of the sardonic. That's really hilarious. Let's see here. Yeah. Brain massages. Those are good too. See, Thunder Speaks. I wish I could enjoy a massage, but because of experiences as a kid, massages as an adult causes me stress. Instead of relieving it, it triggers my fight instinct, even with my wife doing it. Yeah, that's some real shit, man. That really sucks that was like taken away, you know? Like that's become a negative thing. It has a negative association in your mind. it's a real bummer, you know. Maybe you can work through it, maybe you can't. Maybe there's other ways you can express those things. So I mean, there's more than one way to, you know, skin a cat. Like, you know, it may not be massage, but there's other things that you can maybe engage in that might be nice, you know. Who knows? Yeah, space brain massage. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm like kind of, I don't know. I'm more like, I saw somebody talking about like prostitution or something for some reason. Where he's like, prostitution was outlawed. I don't think prostitution should be outlawed. I think it should be legal. So don't tell anybody I said that, internet. But it's like, it's a thing. Like, some people need it, and you can't necessarily always have a relationship, and it's a human function, and, you know, it's gonna happen. It's the world's oldest profession. You might as well, you know, legalize it. But I'm for also, like, the war on drugs is stupid to me. I don't think we should have laws against drugs. I mean, I'm just like, I'm, you know, I'm kind of anti all that shit, you know, anti all that shit. You can't legislate morality. Yeah. And the thing is too, is like, if you allowed it, if you legalize prostitution, then you could have some sort of handle on it where it's like, okay, well, now it's like you have to have mandated, like, you know, STD checks and things like that, which would help keep it cleaner and less spread of disease and all sorts of things. I mean, there's stuff that you could do that could make it, you know, a safer experience for people. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that, I don't have any problem with sex workers, and I don't have any problem with people who visit sex workers. You know, it's just a part of life. You know, it's a part of life, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, it's like, there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes you have access to hanging out with somebody, and you have a great relationship, and you can get those needs fulfilled, and some people don't have that. And so, but they still need to have that, you know, have that. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Legalize everything. Yeah. Right. I know. Well, relieving a sexually tense culture. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, keeping everyone tense, you know, oh, you can get them to buy stuff, you know. It's like, oh, if you legalize some of these things, then, like, people won't want to buy as much shit because they'll be like, although they'll be buying sex or they'll be buying drugs, but I don't know. It's like keeping everyone all bottled up and weird is like good for whoever. They can manipulate. You can manipulate that. But yeah, legalize things that don't infringe on the rights of other people. Yeah, that's good. That's a great way of putting it, Dr. Beavis. I think that's a great way of putting it. Yes. Anyways, all right, guys. Well, it's 6:45. We've been going for a few hours. T-Bone really wants to get this chicken torta, sponsored by Baja Fresh today. Sponsored by this coupon. Well, these are good coupons. Yeah, I think. Well, actually, yay. Well, I don't know, but I bought a bunch of vegetables. Like, I kind of have like a bunch of fresh vegetables that I need to eat. We can eat them later. Let's go to Baja Fresh. Well, maybe you can have a Baja Fresh, and then like I'll just eat some like the salad and stuff. I don't know. Okay. Because I don't want that to go bad. So, and I feel like if I eat this, whatever. But yeah, great session, guys. Thank mi torta. Yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for showing up for Dune Club Session 3. I'm so grateful for you guys. And next week, Session 4. I'm so excited. Like I said, Session 4 ends with, let's just redo this, make sure everyone knows, because some of you aren't reading this book, and I get it, you know, maybe you can't afford it, maybe you already have another one, you know, okay. And she didn't cry out again. Wait, is this Session 4? Yeah. And she didn't cry out against it. She saw the alternatives too. So that is the last sentence of the last chapter in Session 4. We'll be back same Dune time, same Dune channel. I'm just going to leave you guys. I'm going to like turn back on that Dune Wave shit, 'cause I'm going to like let you guys just hang out if you want to listen to that, whatever. If not, whatever, it's cool. You guys are awesome. Thanks for listening to me rant about the X-Men and everything else and being a crazy person in general. Thank you for dealing with my chapped lips. It's been a real struggle today. No problem with that. No, they hurt so bad. Like, it's like I just feel it cracking. Like, they're just like, awful. Like, one day without Aquaphor, and I'm just falling apart here. I'm just falling. I know, Arrakis lips. It's the worst. It's so not cute. That's like the most not cute thing that can be going on. So yeah, so we're riding the Dune wave, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will see you guys next week at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on Twitch. Mwah. Put your right hand in the box. I hold at your neck the Gom Jabbar. I hold at your neck the Gom Jabbar. The Gom Jabbar, the high-handed enemy. It's a needle with a drop of poison on its tip. Don't pull away or you'll feel that poison. A Duke's son must know about poisons. The quick ones and the slow ones and the ones in between. Here's a new one for you, the Gom Jabbar. It kills only animals. It kills only animals. It kills only animals. It kills only animals. You dare suggest that your son is an animal? Animal. Let us say, I suggest you may be human. If you withdraw your hand from the box, you die. This is the only rule. This is the only rule. If you withdraw your hand from the box, you die. This is the only rule. This is the only rule. Keep your hand in the box and live. Keep your hand in the box and live. Keep your hand in the box and live. Withdraw it and die. I must not fear. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face